Hello and welcome back to this channel. Happy Monday. It's a pleasure to have you. My name is Mandy Magnan. I'm an actor, writer, producer, and director in Canada, as well as a YouTube commentator on pop culture and everything it ends with never. There are some things to get into today, so if you're ready, I'm ready. We're going to be going over all of the stuff happening in the courts. And that's about it, because there are some things going on still and some deadlines to look out for. So grab your emotional support lip gloss. You are in frame with Mandy Magnan. Okay, y'all. Okay, the most anticipated CD of the fall has been released. I'm not going to play it here on this video, but if you want to go check it out, I've just done a whole video on it. It's the entire Steve Sorit's unconsented secret recording by Claire Ayub. It's in this video right here. Go check it out. And it is a nothing burger. It does not prove retaliation. Yet again, Blake Lively's smoking gun is not there. If anything, it proves that Steve Sorit was defending himself, and he was saying, if Ryan and Blake continue their attacks, I will step in and I will defend myself. And if it goes to court, I will definitely be there defending myself. But Jamie Heath so far has been trying his damnedest to, keep everything under wraps and defend themselves under these non-stop attacks from Blake Lively. So I hope Blake Lively has more than this in order for her retaliation claim to get attorney fees, because this was a nothing burger. Yet again, more things twisted. Yes, did he say the things that Blake said that he said about defending himself and spending a ton of money and the isn't real versus the HMOS, Yeah, he did. But when it's pulled and taken out of context, if you hear it in the recording, you're just like, it seems like a conversation between two filmmakers, or at least one filmmaker being Claire, and then Steve Sorit, who funded her movie. And she took that recording and gave it to Blake Lively to do with whatever she may do with it, which is use it against Justin Baldoni and WAYFARER. It's absolutely horrendous. What a social climber. This just proves to me that she is exactly like Blake Lively, exactly like Liz Plank. And wow, it's just so gross. So I don't know what is going to happen now with this recording, but it definitely does not prove what Blake Lively was trying to make it prove and what Claire's actual declaration in the court was, that she was in fear and that she was worried, and it has none of that in the entire 38-minute recording. In fact, Steve Sorit, the only thing that he does say about Blake is at the very end, and he's talking about Scarlett Johansson, everyone's favorite, about her directorial debut, Eleanor the Great, which was also produced by WAYFARER, and he's just saying how Scarlett Jo was so cool, calm, collective, and confident, and nice, that she is really, really nice. He goes on to say that so many people are very nice. Almost everyone is really nice, even if they are not nice people. When they meet the team of WAYFARER, they kind of in turn have to respond through kindness and niceness just because of the people that they are. But there are some people who never learned how to be nice and who are different. And he says, like Blake, she's very different. And then he corrects himself and says, but not to say anything bad about her. She's just different. I mean, that is the same kind of defamation and insult that Blake Lively is saying, with the only one thing that Justin Baldoni said about her is that she is a person that always thinks that she's right. These are the only insults and the only thing that they can come up with that they have said against Blake Lively. And it's not even out in the public. It was in private conversations. Now let's just go into the court filings. This is going to be a long video at all because I already did the one with the recording, but I just wanted to give you a few updates on what is happening. On Wednesday, a big day Wednesday. And it's a big day for Popcorn Planet Inc., who will be going to court still for the subpoenas served by Blake Lively. And now Blake Lively doesn't seem like with everyone else. I mean, she pulled her subpoena even with Perez Hilton after fighting for him for weeks and weeks and weeks, and with every other content creator that filed a motion to oppose or to quash the subpoenas served to them through Google, through TikTok, through X, all of the stuff, right? Blake Lively pulled those subpoenas immediately. And it doesn't look like she's going to here because it shows that she's actually added another lawyer. She added Meryl C. Gumvertsky. So we'll see. But on Wednesday, they are supposed to be heading into court. It is a hearing on the plaintiff's 2 amended motions to quash a subpoena to produce documents and the respondent's 8 memorandum in opposition and cross motion to compel. And that is set for 2:00 p.m. via Zoom on October 22nd, Wednesday. So let's everyone collectively wish Popcorn Planet the best of luck and hope that they pull through here and are able to get this absolute ridiculous overreach subpoena from Blake Lively and her counsel. On Friday, October 17th, Wayfarer added 2 new lawyers to the Jones versus Abel case, as well as the Lively versus Wayfarer case. They added lawyers Amir Kaltgrad as well as Kim Zeldin. Both of these lawyers already work for Freeman, Kuhlman, Tillman, LLP, so they probably already were doing some things on the case, but now they're officially here. They are 2 new lawyers for the Wayfarer people, so that's very exciting. Looking at Kim here, it does say that she has a long track record of winning high-profile cases and defeating high-stake litigation, with more than 30 years of experience as a skilled litigator and legal strategist. She has represented business and individuals in federal and state courts and in arbitration in California and across the country. Throughout her extensive career, she has handled a wide range of litigation matters, including class action, breach of contract claims, business torts, defamation, real estate, intellectual property, mass tort, employment, etc., etc., etc. This is Amir Kaltgrad. Amir Kaltgrad is a trial attorney representing business and individuals in a broad range of commercial litigation matters, including shareholder and partnership disputes, professional malpractice, complex business torts, real estate, and contract disputes. This is interesting to me just because we have the contract dispute with Blake Lively. I mean, she never even signed it, so we'll see in here, but he says that he has tried cases in federal and state court in cases of first impression, including representing clients in high-stakes litigation and white-collar criminal defense. He has experience defending individuals and corporations in a range of criminal and regulatory matters, including securities and healthcare fraud. These are the 2 lawyers that are added. Very interesting. More lawyers coming in for Wayfarer. In the case of Abel versus Jones, 2 important things to note is on October 31st, that is when Jennifer Abel has to reply back to Jones to see whether or not she is going to re-amend and fight. I think they are going to fight because the judge gave them a pretty good roadmap on what he needs in order for them to continue. However, Stephanie motherfucking Jones did put in this letter and it was granted, and it just shifts a few of the timelines. So basically it was granted that the post-discovery status conference previously set for October 21st is scheduled to December 9th. So that's going to be at 10:30 a.m. It's a long time away, so we'll have a lot of stuff there, but that's just basically what this whole letter was. It does say on October 3rd, 2025, this court granted in part the Jones party's motion to dismiss Abel's counterclaims and set the deadline for Abel to replead the dismissed causes of action to October 31st. The parties stipulate that the deadline for the Jones party to answer the complaint or respond to Abel's counterclaim should be November 21st. On October 6th, the court extended the expert discovery schedule in this matter. October 31st is the deadline to exchange opening expert reports. November 21st is the deadline to exchange expert rebuttal reports. And December 12th is the deadline to complete depositions of experts. Additionally, on October 14th, this court continued the status conference in Lively versus Wayfarer Studios from October 21st to December 9th. The Jones party and Wayfarer have conferred, and in light of forthcoming deadlines for Abel to replead her counterclaims and for the parties in this matter to exchange opening expert reports, respectfully request that the court continue the status conference in this matter from October 21st to November 13th. And then that was approved. So a little bit extra time here for them to plead, replead, answer, rebuttal, etc., etc., etc. So that is happening. And it does seem that they were meet and conferring. So it looks like Wayfarer and Jennifer Abel will be fighting and repleading their case against my good dear friend, Stephanie motherfucking Jones. And now we do have an answer about the New York Times. You know, the New York Times is out there being super extra annoying, being like, please, judge, can you give us a final decision? Can we just get out of this case? Can we get out of here? Well, he's come back and given his answer, and it's quite interesting. So he does say that the New York Times moved to pursue in Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 54B for the entry of final judgment in its favor and against the Wayfarer Studios. The Wayfarer parties have not filed an opposition. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 54B permits the court to enter partial final judgment when it has made a final decision with respect to one or more, but not all claims in a case. The entry of final judgment in that circumstance starts the time running for an appeal. Very interesting. So we will see what happens here, but it does seem like he's giving the Wayfarer people a little bit extra time. It does go on to say, of course, once the district court in the pending case entered a partial judgment under Rule 54B, the time to appeal that judgment began upon its entry. The rule provides in pertinent part, when an action presents more than one claim for relief, whether as a claim, counterclaim, cross-claim, or third-party claim, or when multiple parties are involved, the court may direct entry of a final judgment as to one or more, but fewer than all claims, or parties only if the court expressly determines that there is no just reason for delay. On June 9th, the court granted defendants' motion to dismiss and dismissed the complaint in its entirety. Although the court granted the Wayfarer parties and not the Times leave to file an amended complaint by June 23rd, the Wayfarer parties did not do so. Thus, it appears, with one possible exception detailed below, that the decision became final as of June 23rd as to all parties. The Times motion is predicated on the mistaken notion that the court's order dismissing the complaint in this case will not become final until after a final decision is rendered in the Lively action. The court consolidated this case with the Lively action pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure by order on January 30th. But the effect of that order was not to make the time to appeal a final judgment in this case run from a final judgment in both cases. Rule 42 does not have such an effect. As the Supreme Court has clarified, even when cases are consolidated, constituent cases retain their separate identities at least to the extent that a final decision is immediately appealable by the losing party. The court has not entered a separate document reflecting the judgment in this case, nor have 150 days run from the date of the court's June 9th order. Accordingly, the parties are directed to show cause by no later than October 24th why final judgment should not be entered and why the Times motion should not be dismissed as mute. In doing so, the parties should address whether any pending motions for fees and costs, including those brought under anti-SLAPP statutes, mean that the decision in this case is not in fact final as to all parties. Why I think this is so interesting is because of that last paragraph. So first of all, 150 days isn't up the New York Times, so you don't know. By October 24th, Wayfarer can still appeal it. So that's good to know. Very interesting. We'll see. I mean, they have 4 days to do that if they're going to. But if you remember, the New York Times is currently suing Wayfarer under the anti-SLAPP statutes for attorney fees and cost, which will probably end up back in Judge Liman's court because this case is so big and messy and it's all in with each other, right? So I think he's giving them a little bit of a reach, like, hello, you know. In doing so, the parties should address whether any pending motions for fees and costs, including those brought under anti-SLAPP statutes, mean that the decision in this case is not in fact final as to all parties. Right, it's still going on, New York Times. So this is quite interesting. We'll see what the Wayfarer people as well as the New York Times have to say about this. But this order was put in by the Judge Louis J. Liman. Honestly, I think the next week is going to be juicy. I think it's going to get even messier and people are going to fight because now we have Jennifer Abel. She gets to reply back to Stephanie motherfucking Jones. We have the Wayfarer people who are going to answer to the New York Times, and maybe we will see an appeal because it hasn't been 150 days yet, as well as that freaking secret recording that came out today that was nothing. It did not prove at all Blake's point. It's kind of wild, but I do want to talk about something very interesting about Blake's lawyers because they just had a massive loss. As everyone knows or doesn't know, I mean, I didn't really get too far into the case because I thought it was kind of silly and absolutely ridiculous that you would be suing someone over a diss track, but Drake was suing Kendrick Lamar as well as the studio for like pushing out more of Kendrick's stuff and da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, it didn't go anywhere. It was dismissed, but something interesting with Drake and Blake, guess who their lawyer is? Michael J. Gottlieb. Yeah, that Michael, you know, Ezra and Michael who are currently raising hell for Blake Lively, doing some unethical, super shady things and just taking all her hard cash, or I guess Ryan Reynolds money. But they work for Wilkie Farr and Gallagher, and yes, Michael Gottlieb, and that was dismissed. Exactly what I think is going to happen with Blake Lively. The judge herself, a district judge, Jeanette Vargas, who dismissed the case, ruled that the lyrics, the Kendrick Lamar lyrics, Not Like Us, were non-actionable opinion and not defamatory. The judge explained that a reasonable listener would not take the incendiary language in the context of a rap battle as verifiable facts. The ruling, which dismissed Drake's defamation lawsuit against the Universal Music Group, stated the song's accusations were hyperbolic and a part of a war of words between the artists, not factual assertions. But the most interesting thing I think that she said was she emphasized the fact that the lawsuit arose from a major rap battle between both artists, where they were both exchanging intense lyrics against each other. So if it's good for one, it has to be good for the other. And I think that's what's going to happen in this case if it does go to trial, or what the judge is going to see is that this was just a PR battle where Blake Lively and Leslie Sloan and Ryan Reynolds and their team was doing PR, and the Wayfarer people were just countering it. So if Blake Lively is allowed to go and smear Justin and Wayfarer in the tabloids and talk to them, and Leslie Sloan is allowed to plant all of these headlines attacking their religion, dropping stories about Justin fat shaming Blake, dropping stories about lingering on kisses, how the whole cast hates him, etc., 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 and they went to the press to defend themselves, what's good for one is good for the other, right, Blake? And what's crazy is, check the date on this note. January 12th, 2025 is when I did a Blake Lively and Drake comparison. Now, I only wrote notes in my notebook, and this probably isn't going to make very much sense to anybody. And I actually never got around to even making a video about it. I have so many notes of just thoughts and things in my mind. And this was actually one of them, how the Blake Lively and the Drake case have so many similarities with each other. And I think they're going to end up with the exact same result, which is dismissed or not going anywhere. And these lawyers, Michael Gottlieb, is just bleeding them dry and making millions while he's at it. And just going over the case, it's just like super important that now, once everything is kind of crumbling, to look at the things that have crumbled, the dance montage out the window, right? Because we've seen it, and Justin was directing and he didn't do anything crazy or inappropriate in that all of the scenes that they showed. It's kind of wild. We have the birthing scene where the actor who actually played the OBGYN has come out and been like, yo, everything was straight up, as well as Steve Sorrett saying he wasn't even there where it was filming and he'll be able to prove it. That throws Blake Lively's whole thing out, that Steve Sorrett showed up just because she was going to have her legs open. And you know, Blake, everyone wants to get close to her hoo-ha, you know what I'm saying? So that's out the window. Now you have the recording where he's talking smack about Blake and he's saying how he's going to ruin her life and she was so scared and da 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 da. Well, now you have it on the recording, and actually Claire and Steve were joking around, and it was clearly a joke because she even says like, "Oh, not dead to me," like, and they're laughing about it. So you have that now. You have her saying that they would always barge into her trailer while she was pumping. You have texts where she invited him on the trailer. There's so many videos surfacing of them behind the sets where they're playing along and kikiing, and Blake looks like she's majorly flirting with Justin. I mean, you have the case is falling apart. You have all of the text messages that they stole, basically illegally obtained by a fake lawsuit created by Van Zandt, an inactive shell company to acquire a sham subpoena in order to get otherwise illegally obtained text messages to use, which literally prove nothing. I mean, the entire thing. I mean, you have agents now at WME who have been deposed saying that, hey, listen, it was extortion. She was extorting them. You have all of the receipts from Wayfarer proving how horrible and brutal Blake Lively was to work with, how she literally hijacked the movie in the end, how she kicked them out of the editing room and put them in a basement during the premiere. It is falling apart at the seams, and it won't be long now, I think, until it's just like a wrap, okay? Because lie after lie after lie after lie. How many more, right? But this week, if you see Ryan Reynolds selling you some stuff, going hard on his businesses, and Blake Lively hawking some new products on you and trying to sell a bunch of stuff, and on her Instagram trying to be trad wife 2025, and Ryan Reynolds trying to be family man and husband and doting father and loving, kind, nice family guy all around, that's because everything is exploding around them. And I think that their marriage, their relationship, and this entire narrative from the It Ends With Us that Blake Lively is a victim is completely imploding, and the world is finally going to see them for who they are. At least here I do. Okay, narcissistic, power hungry, will do anything to get their way and stay on top kind of people. And to me, it's no one I want in my life or to ever work with. Other than that, nothing really happening in the court so far. That secret recording is definitely going to spice some things up. I guarantee the Lively people right now are at their home screaming, "Claire Ayub, kiss your career goodbye unless Ryan Reynolds is planning on funding all your next movies." No, I don't know any producer that's willing to spend hundreds of thousands, let alone millions of dollars on you, knowing that you secretly record them and you go and do what you've just done. It's absolutely despicable. Social ladder climber like Liz Plank and the man beater Jennifer Slate, as well as Isabel Ferrer and Colleen Hoover. Let's just put them all in there, okay? Birds of a feather. But that's all I got for you. There will be a new membership video dropping tomorrow. I'm super excited to share it with you, as well as a live that you will be able to get first and join and get it so you can watch it in case you missed it. Please join the membership. It's down below. You'll hopefully be empowered, inspired, and entertained. There wasn't a video last week because I was away on vacation, but I'm back, baby. Okay? Lots of good news coming up in my life, which I am super excited to share with you, as well as my film Desire and our new adventures coming up. So yeah, please join in and let's continually inspire and lift each other up, love ourselves a little bit more. And like Steve Sarrett said on the call with Claire Ayub, where there is love, nothing is trouble. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Have the best day. Bye! Please like, comment, hype, share, subscribe.